Hi, everyone. Welcome to Super Monday. Thanks for joining us today. This is Beryl. I'm a publishing manager at Supersonic and the face behind the chat bubble on our dashboard. So nice to meet you all. Happy to be here. Today I have some super exciting news to share with you. For the ones who are familiar with us, with our previous promotion that we held in the summer, Super Summer, we're back with its winter edition, Super Winter. After Super Summer, it really helped us to see the pain points and needs of a hyper-casual developer. So we're here to support you in all aspects. And we're back with Super Winter. And we have some really nice additions in terms of prizes and bonuses. So let's get started. So let's quickly go over our agenda first. In the beginning, we're going to dive into Super Winter, getting to know our promotion a bit more, our prizes, cash bonuses, our timeline. In the second half, our market research analyst, Ron, will give us some tips for hyper-casual games in 2023 in order for you to start working on your prototypes and hopefully win all the cash bonuses and prizes. And last but not least, we're going to finish it up with a Q&A session. So Super Winter is here, almost soon to be live on our platform. And I think we can welcome Super Winter. We're back with it, as I said, and we're really excited. The question is why we're back is because after Super Summer, we received tons of feedback from you, which was extremely helpful for us to understand how to help you and how to support you throughout publishing a game. And we're also aware that publishing a game is a long and a challenging road, and you need some help from the beginning till the last. So we're here to help you with some prototype payments. Besides that, a lot of prizes and cash bonuses, which will help you working on the iteration process. And besides that, we saw amazing results during Super Summer, met with the great studios, great talents, and we still have long-lasting relationship with those ones. So we're really excited what Super Winter is about to bring. So let's move on to the fun part, which is huge cash bonuses. So for any approved and tested game within Super Winter promotion period, you'll be eligible to receive $200 payment. It's unlimited, and we don't look for KPIs. If your game is approved and tested, you're eligible for this payment. As I said, that's unlimited, so you can submit as much as you want. Here we want to see really innovative concept from you, interesting mechanics, and games coming from market trends, which Uri will help you for that part. So the more you submit, the more you earn. And then we have our $100,000 prize for any published game. So if you test your game during Super Winter period and your game gets published, immediately you'll be receiving the $100,000 prize. And throughout the period, we work with a profit share, and along the period, you'll be receiving your profit share. So this is just a small minimum guarantee to make sure that you're all covered. And of course, that's not it. We still have more to offer, which is, in my eyes, the best part of the promotion, which is keep getting paid for a prototype, even after Super Winter ends. So keep in mind that if your studio shows high potential through the games you test during Super Winter on our platform, you could continue getting paid for every single prototype after Super Winter ends. I think this is an amazing opportunity, guys, because we know what you need, and that's why we're here for. These kind of promotion really help us to meet with a lot of talents and interesting studios. And the aim here is to recognize these studios and make sure that we support them in the process. My small recommendation will be to make sure that let's not just focus on short run, which is submitting as much as we want, but long run, because if you submit games that actually will show your potential, we might have a long-lasting relationship and we might offer you a payment even after Super Winter ends. So make sure that you work on your prototypes, make sure your prototypes include interesting ideas, different concepts, it follows market trends. Yes. And still, that's not it. Still, there's more to offer, which is our bonuses. First, we have 2 Facebook CPI and retention bonuses. During this promotion, if you have any game that has a CPI less than 50 cents with day 1 retention 30 and above, you'll be eligible for the $3,000 payment. Besides that, if you have any game that has a CPI less than 40 cents with day 1 retention 30 and above, you'll be eligible for the $5,000 payment. Here, you're free to test your game on both OSs. It could be either iOS or Android, whatever you prefer, whatever is easier for you. Our platform supports both. And we have our last bonus from a tool that we just released on our platform, which is the Marketability Tool, which will come into a second. But during this promotion, if you have a game that reaches full marketability score 4 and above, with day one retention 30 and above, you'll be eligible for the payment of $100,000. What we mean by full marketability is that your game needs to be tested on Facebook, TikTok, and ironSource. For the ones who are familiar with our platform, last week we had a huge change. We changed our UI. We introduced you guys 4 different tools, and Marketability Tool was one of them also. In our last Super Monday session, we went over these changes in depth. So if you want to get more detailed information, I recommend you to go to that Super Monday session through our website. So for the ones who are not familiar with the Marketability Tool, it helps us to get a score from 1 till 5 and helps us to predict how competitive your game will be within the hyper-casual genre and see your game's marketability from the initial test status. For us, I think it's a pretty valuable tool since it helps us to get the most accurate score, since we test these games both on social and SDK networks. It also helps us quickly understand the potential of the game. In hyper-casual markets, we die quickly and we publish quickly, so you have to be quick as possible. It's really important. Since this tool allows us to see the potential of the game from the initial testing status, that's pretty valuable for us. Besides that, I think in my eyes, for a developer, this is the most important point, which is direct resources efficiently. So we know that finding a marketable concept, working on a prototype, these are not so easy and quick processes. It takes time. It takes your time and resources. So with this tool, we're able to see the potential of the game pretty in the beginning phase from the initial testing status. So this will allow for you to use your resources much efficiently and quicker. As we said, we're looking for a full marketability score, but how does it work? So let's go over a process a bit. In the beginning, we test your game on Facebook. And then once the initial test is over on Facebook, immediately you see your marketability score on our platform. It's 100% transparent. This allows us to see if the game shows potential or not. And if it does, then your game is tested on TikTok. Once we know that TikTok is one of the largest growing social network out there, so it's pretty important for us to see your game's marketability there too. So once we have Facebook and TikTok, this means that we cover the social side of the game, and we need to make sure that we cover also the SDK network side, because we know that SDK has a huge impact on us to predict the scalability of your game in the future processes. So unlike Facebook and TikTok, in order to see the marketability, we're not looking for a CPI, but we're looking for an IPM, which is in-store per mile. What we do here is that for each source, we give thousands of impressions for your app, and we see how many installs we got from that thousands of impression, and it gives us an IPM score. And in the end, we have Facebook CPI, TikTok CPI, we have ironSource IPM, but how do we come to a marketability score? So our marketability tool takes all of this information into account. On the other side, takes into account the audience, which is the demographics and age, and the placements. These two has a huge impact on the scalability for your game, and puts all of these information together and gives us a score, which helps us to see if the game shows marketability or not. And hopefully we will be seeing a lot of 4 and above marketability score with your games, or it will help us, I think, with the tips and trends. And let's quickly go over our timeline. So today in this Super Monday session, we introduced you SuperWinter. Soon we'll go over ideation tips and trends for you guys to start working on your prototypes that you'll be submitting to SuperWinter. 2 weeks from now, on March 1st, SuperWinter submission period will start. So you'll be able to submit all of your games throughout March for a full month. And on March 31st, our submission will be closed. And after that, you will have the opportunity to work on your creatives, complete Wisdom SDK, and start your test. And on April 20th will be our end of testing period. So please make sure that you start your test until the April 20th. And a small reminder that your games only be eligible to SuperWinter promotion if the game is submitted within March. If you submit your game a few weeks ago and it's approved and you start during SuperWinter, you won't be eligible for the prizes and cash bonuses. So please keep that in mind. And we have few tips for you to earn the big prizes. The first one is diversify your pipeline. Try different genres like runner, simulation, puzzle, and idle. The more you try, the more you will see where you're more successful, where you're stronger at. Besides that, trends are constantly changing, and it's always good to be on top of these. So once a genre gets trendy, you should be able to start working on that genre and be experienced. Besides that, for initial tests, keep your MVP clean as possible. Our initial tests are conducted in order to see the marketability of the game. That's why we don't need to see a lot of game progression and content. We only need enough content to create your ads. So I would say like 15 minutes of unique playtime is a good place to start for your initial test. Here we want to see if players are engaged enough with your game or not. So your main focus should be on the marketability and cracking the CPI. And once we do that successfully, we'll start working on your game and make sure that in-game metrics will get better and increase. And know your benchmarks. It's always good to know what means potential and how, in what situation we can move forward with it. So I would say for any classic hyper-casual games that has a marketability score 3.5 and above means there's potential and we can definitely work on it. And with higher LTV games such as Idle Arcade, I would say a marketability score of 2.5 and above is a nice place to start working. And that's it from me. And Uri will share us with the tips and trends for 2023. So get ready.
Thank you, Beryl. Let me just share my slides. So I'm Uri. I'm leading the market research here at Supersonic. So usually in those kind of events, we usually talk about market trends, what's hot in top charts. But the fact is that in the past 6 months, we see publishers, if they publish 2-3 games each month, they take more time to work on games for different reasons. So this will be more of a focus of tips and for hyper-casual in 2023. So let's start with the first tip, which is focus on playtime and CPI. So if the hyper-casual market 2-3 years ago was like mainly CPI is the king, it still is the king. This is why we came up with the marketability score. Still CPI is super important, but we also ask you from the ideation phase, just think about what will give me great playtime. And you can see here 2 examples of biggest hits last year, Merge Miners and My Minimart. Games that on the marketability side, again, CPI is above 50 cents, which is not amazing for hyper-casual. But again, it's all about the balance between marketability and LTV. And those games already came from the first version with a playtime of above 30 minutes in the first day. So again, it's not the classic hyper-casual games when you think about hyper-casual. So the market is changing. There's room for those games as well. Higher playtime, higher retention. CPI is not the strongest, but it's okay. It's enough to create a mega hits. So think about the playtime as well. Build your game to show in-game potential. So in many cases, we get CPI results that are look marketability amazing, very low CPI, but doesn't always mean that the game is strong enough to work on. This is why we also want to aim for the first build to be a 15 minutes of gameplay, because we have the marketability tool. We can look at the marketability potential very early and understand how will this game perform once we launch it and scale it. But we also want to look at the playtime and retention from the beginning. And also, if we look at the big hits, Basket Battle, My Mini Mart, Tallman, Merge Miner, all of these games had great playtime and reaction from the first version. So from the first version, they had 15 minutes at least of gameplay. They had good marketability enough to continue. So this is why we kind of aim you to come with at least 15 minutes of gameplay. So we want to look at both marketability and the KPIs before moving on. And also think beyond the one with your progression. It's not like build the game and work on it for a few weeks, but come with a little bit of a vision. And again, showing those two games, My Mini Mart and Merge Miner. You can see in My Mini Mart, you start the mart with empty, nothing, just but collecting money and open the tomato. And then after playing for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, you unlock so many areas, you unlock a new mart, you have so many customers, and then you just can't stop playing. And then when you come to the game tomorrow, then you will see everything you unlocked, and it's hard to leave a game when you see your entire progress. Same with Merge Miner, you just start with one item, you drop it, then you merge new items, you discover new items, you level up, you progress, then you have a super powerful tools. Again, you come back to the game in day 2, day 7, it's hard to let go of this game because those games thought about progression from the ideation phase. Again, they did a similar process to hyper-casual prototyping, work on the prototype for a few weeks, at least 15 minutes of gameplay, test marketability first. But again, they came ready with thinking about the progression, how this game will look like on day 2, on day 7, even on day 30. So think about this as well, have it on your vision. Another thing we ask you is like, think of a meaningful mechanic. This is something that is hard to explain. This is why we give Basket Battle as an example. If you haven't played it, download it now and do this experiment. You can play it or give someone else to play it and just look at how they hold the phone, how they are engaged with the screen. They just need to move the finger to aim, and then they need to watch where the character is going, and on mid-air, they need to aim again. So just do this experiment, ask for someone to play this game, look how he's engaged with the screen. Again, some mechanics for big hits, for games that are published, some mechanics just work better than others in engaging the users. So we talk about the swerving mechanic, we talk about merging, and we talk about a joystick as well. So when engaged users, the mechanic is super important. Sometimes you just have good marketability, understand the mechanic is not strong enough. It's not something that's going to hold the game for a long retention. So try to aim for a meaningful mechanic. And again, Basket Battle is a great example. You just download it, play it, let someone play it, see how they're engaged with the screen. Moving on, talking about mechanics as well. So sometimes it's worth considering an additional mechanic. So if the classic hyper-casual games, even games that a year ago, 2 years ago, you just need one mechanic, then we see some games might, again, adding another mechanic is something that we see more. Again, sometimes it's not going to save the game, but it will give the game more depth, improve playtime, improve retention. And those two examples here just show it the best. The game on the left is by Crazy Labs. It's a classic simulation games. You build different pets, you give them different powers. And then they added this idle adventure layer where pets actually do something. It's you let them discover, you let them, it's more of an adventure game. So it's not only just a simulation games of creating pets, but they also come to life, and it's much more engaging and give more depth to the game with another mechanic. And similar with Tallman, we see a lot of runners that added this kind of idle arcade, also IO. You kind of build, you kind of eat once you finish a level, you kind of eat other characters, you build different buildings. It's good for RV placement, it's good for playtime. It also give another break from the runner levels, so you just don't play level after level. You have this break doing a different very simple joystick mechanic. So consider about adding another mechanic to the game. It might help you with the game. This is another classic example. We talk about vision. So bring your vision to the games from the ideation phase. You can see here 2 examples. Creative looks the same. The one on the left is a Tower Arch game we published 2-3 years ago with Tiny Kraken. You can see this was enough for hyper casual 2-3 years ago. This is the gameplay, level after level. And on the game on the right, you can see a game that Voodoo are working on it for a hybrid or whatever you call it. Again, I'm not saying this game will be successful, but it just showed that the creative is very simple, but they took it to more of Clash Royale. You open chest, you upgrade your castle, you choose a defense, and each level is a little bit, the gameplay is still the same, but they try to build a progression. Again, different characters you unlock, different weapons you unlock. Again, not saying it's gonna be good, but still the starting point is very similar, but the vision to the game is what you need to come from the ideation phase. Again, looking for the CPI, but also come with how day 7 will look like, how level 20 will look like. Just come with this vision in advance. Another tip is keep challenging users. Understand why users are coming to the back to the game. Again, some users are looking for progression, as you can see in my minimap. They want to complete tasks, they want to progress, build, open things, unlock things. And some users are looking for a game that will be relaxation. Some are looking for a puzzle game to challenge their brain. And some are looking for challenge. And you can see 3 of our big hits. Each one addresses a different challenge. Going Balls is a solo challenge gameplay. You just play alone. You have these high difficult levels that you want to solve. Basket Battle is a PvP challenge game. You always face against someone else, and you try to beat them in its very short levels. And you got the classic IO race games, there's Bridge Race, Hide and Seek, and others that you compete against others in this short race, and you try to beat them. So challenging user is just one example to think that works in hyper casual games. And you want to challenge users because this is what brings emotions out of them. They are angry, they want to win, they want to complete. And if you get emotions out of the users, it will make them come back and play more. Another things we saw trending in 2022, which will continue to 2023, is split up longer levels into progression steps. A great example is Bucket Crusher by Voodoo. Again, each level can be even 5 to 10 minutes, but they make sure that every 30 seconds, 1 minute, you have this upgrade. You're gonna progress a little bit. Again, you're not gonna complete the level yet, but you will progress in small steps. We also see this in the tech hall now by Homa in top charts. You got to play the level, attempt it like 5, 10 times, but all the time you are getting closer and closer and closer. Also on the left, you can see 2 examples of puzzle games. It doesn't mean that you have just to use the one screen for puzzle game. It can show also progression. You have more moves, your progression up. So again, try to think about longer levels. Again, hyper casual with 5, 10 seconds levels is going to struggle. So think about how to create longer levels, but do give the user a sense of progression every few seconds, every few minutes. So longer levels is something that will be super strong this year as well. So we talked about mainly about come up with vision, gameplay, retention. It doesn't mean that CPI is not important. CPI is still the king. It's still hyper casual, still important. You can see that top 2 games in 2022, new games in hyper casual in terms of downloads came from TikTok trends, Color Match that was very successful for us, and Fill the Fridge by Rolik. So again, there will always be place for simulation games, for games that with high marketability score and that we can scale and make sure that they will reach everyone. But again, it's kind of fine also the buzz. Also look at gameplay, also think about retention, think about the vision, don't build it from day one, but think about how the game will look like and what will bring users back to the game. And if we kind of take the key takeaways and try to summarize everything. So we talk about think beyond day one. We talk about 15 minutes of gameplay. Think about the progression, think about the vision. You don't same process, prototyping, a few days, few weeks. And again, we talked about big hits that had great KPIs from the first version. Some games, again, similar process to prototyping, just came with 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes of gameplay. And then we saw retention and playtime exploded from the first version. And from there, it was just improving the marketability score, building new creative, building more content to the game, and improve the metrics. But again, you want to look at both marketability and a little bit of in-game to see if players consume the 15 minutes of gameplay. So try to work on that as well. We talked about use a meaningful mechanic, and Basket Battle again is a great example. Again, show how you move the fingers, how you engage with the screen, that you always look on the screen, that you walk with the entire part of the screen. Just do the experiment, let someone else download the game, see how they play. We also talk about it's okay to add another mechanic to your game. We show runners with idle arcade layer. We show simulation games that add another layer. So again, it's not going to save your game, but some mechanics we struggle to reach the desired KPIs by themselves. And we also talk about challenging the user, users looking for something, each user is looking for something, each player is looking for something different. Some like the challenge, some like the completion things, the progression, some just come to relax, but you want to aim for reasons that make users play games and not only think about the CPI, so you do it with different engaging mechanics. Also try to think about the progression we talk about, challenging the user, and good luck with prototyping and good luck with SuperWinter. We'll move to Q&A now.
Yes, so I think I have a question that I can start with. How will be receiving the cash bonuses and how long it will take to receive after testing? So once you add your game to our platform, immediately you will need to put your payment information and you'll be receiving the payment also through our platform. You're gonna be receiving the payment 30 days after your test starts. And I think I can answer the next one. How do the metrics compare between each channel, Facebook, TikTok, and Iron Source? Which one is the most important? What should we do if we get good metric on one channel but not the other? So we always compare each network metrics to successful launches that we had before. And the holistic score is what means to us, what matters to us. This is exactly the idea why we came up with a marketability score, to make sure understand if the game is marketable or not when we test in different channels. So usually we need to see at least two of these networks a more positive picture. But again, the score should calculate it for you, because we mentioned earlier, CPI is not the only metric we're looking for. We also take into account when we calculate marketability score, our audience, which is demographics and age, and the placement of your game.
Cool. I will also try to answer a question. What type of games are you looking for during SuperWinter? So again, usually we talk about market trends, but again, we aim for, again, anything can work. We're open to work with everything. We've always been a publisher that works on the entire portfolio. Any categories can work, but it's all about the balance between marketability and playtime. So marketability score, CPI, and playtime, and we want to aim you to think about the playtime, think about the retention that wasn't needed in hyper casual 2-3 years ago. It was mainly a marketability game. It still is a marketability game, but we aim for so idle arcade, merge, swerving mechanic. Think about the mechanic. Think about the mechanic that can create a long retention and engagement. So again, anything in work, we're not going to direct you to one category. But again, think about gameplay, think about retention that wasn't needed and now is very important to help you publish your game. More questions?
I think I have one. What are the benchmark KPIs in order to move?
We'll take another one. How many levels should I have? Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm moving. So one of them is, what are the benchmark KPIs in order to move to iteration phase? So once we see potential in your game, we start, even though it's not ready to move to iteration, we would help you with the creatives or anything, any information that you will need from us. So I would say in terms of marketability, if your game shows potential, but has a score around 3.5 for classic hyper casual games such as runner simulation, this means that we can start working on it. And for higher LTV games such as idle arcade, we need to see marketability score 2 and above. And in terms of in-game, we want to see something around day one retention 20-25 above, and mainly to see if the content is consumed or not. Yes. And I think we have one more question. How much time will it get a full marketability score for our prototypes? So it takes less than 10 days overall. On Facebook, we test your game for 6 days, then we move on to TikTok. And Iron Source, they also take 3 days. So in 9 days, we actually have a full marketability score of your game.
How many levels should I have when testing my prototype? So again, we talked about at least 15 minutes of gameplay. Again, it will be levels that repeat after each time. We just aim for a meaningful
I can move to another one. What is better to test, iOS or Android? As we mentioned before, whatever works better for you. We support both OSs on our platform. And we have another question. In order to have a game approved for testing, should the game have more than one level? If we have sufficient videos for CPI tests? I would say adding a few more levels can be a good idea, since we want to see if all the content is consumed by the players or not. We don't have to add so many levels, but more than one could be a good idea to start for the initial testing period.
Cool. I have another one from my side. What will be a good marketability score for a runner game? Again, it's about the balance between marketability and playtime. You know, runners have always been trending in hyper casual. Tournament was one of our strongest games last year. We also published now a bullet stack a few days ago. So again, it's about the balance. It can have like a marketability score of 5 and an okay KPI, but it can have also amazing KPIs and a marketability score of 3. So always look at the balance between marketability and LTV. And again, there's no correct answer for that. It's about the balance.
We have an internet issue at the moment. Sorry for that. We will be answering all of your questions through our Instagram page. So you can reach us out with all of your questions through there. And thank you so much for joining us today. It was really exciting news for us to share this amazing promotion. So get ready for it, because it's going to be crazy. Good luck.
Thank you very much, and good luck, everyone.